Today for our annual Veterans Day celebration. We want to thank Ralph Willingham and Tammy Peters for putting in so much hard work. Ralph and Tammy, I'll take a bow real quick. Thank you. We want to thank our Gold Star families for being here today. This makes it much more special to have your presence here. Please welcome our Gold Star families here at the Ed Kramer Veterans Flag Plaza. I do have one announcement. Apparently we have one person who is parked illegally back here by the library. We needed to come move their Jeep. I'm just joking, I'm just kidding. That's Bob Glenn, who brought his 1972 Jeep from the Vietnam era, completely restored. You need to check it out afterwards. Bob, thank you for bringing the Jeep. Next time, park in a parking place, okay? Bob, the president of our Weatherford College Foundation, we really appreciate him. I'd like to invite Max Casera, the chaplain of the VFW Post 4746. He'll provide our opening prayer. Max?
Let us pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for this wonderful gathering here, and we ask that you bless all. A very important national holiday is soon upon us, November 11th, and with this in mind, we beseech thee to bestow your blessings upon our first responders, which this wonderful Weatherford College instructs and nurtures, cadre of firemen and women, and we ask your special blessings upon them. We ask that you bless, guide, and protect our EMTs and our police officers who protect and serve us. In view of November 11, 1918, and what has followed, we ask that you bless and protect our military personnel who even now guard our gates of freedom. Comfort and heal those injured and wounded in action and those who may be held prisoners of war or missing in action. We ask that your divine guidance and peace be bestowed upon our Gold Star families who perpetually mourn family members who have given their all in the service of our country. And we thank you, Lord, for welcoming those who have given their all into your heavenly abode. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Max. I would like to invite our president to the podium, a Weatherford College graduate, a Weatherford native, and very proud to have him as our leader, the president of WC, Dr. Todd Allen Farmer.
Thank you, Vice President Baker. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to the 2018 Weatherford College Veterans Day program. With us today are some special guests who are veterans. Please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Representing the Weatherford College Board of Trustees, we have veterans Roger Grizzard and Dr. Robert Marlette. Also, veterans joining us today are Bob Glenn, Weatherford College Foundation President, Dr. Daniel O'Mara, Dean of Wise County Campus, John Hale, the Parker County Veterans Service Officer, and Ralph Willingham, the man who made all of this possible today. I also need to recognize veteran benefactor Ed Kramer for his generous donation that made this beautiful Veterans Flag Plaza possible. Please join me not only in recognizing these special veterans, but all of the honored veterans who are with us today. The Korean War Memorial in Washington, D.C. appropriately reminds us that freedom is not free. Today we gather to honor all of our veterans who have protected and preserved our national freedom. Today we gather to honor those on active duty around the world who are currently protecting our great nation. And today we gather to honor and remember those who have made the ultimate sacrifice and laid down their lives in defense of God and country. Weatherford College is preparing to celebrate our sesquicentennial year in 2019. That 150-year history of changing lives would not have been possible without the service of countless numbers of veterans who protected both our freedom and our right to teach and learn. The cornerstone of Weatherford College was laid on July 5th, 1869. I can't help but to think that among those early students, faculty, and staff members were Civil War veterans and those who had endured the hardships of that war. During the World War I era, 1917 was the year that the United States declared war and the year that Weatherford College first admitted women. Later, in 1942, during World War II, Weatherford College suspended the football program for the duration of the war due to the absence of men. In the Vietnam era, Weatherford College began teaching classes at Fort Walters in Mineral Wells in the fall of 1963. 95% of the GI helicopter pilots in the Vietnam War were trained at Fort Walters in the United States Army Primary Helicopter School. Many became WC students. Weatherford College has also sent her sons and daughters to serve in military conflicts in Iraq, Afghanistan, and around the world. I would like to briefly mention a few of the most distinguished Weatherford College veterans. General William Hood Simpson was born in Weatherford, Texas on May 18, 1888. He attended Weatherford College and ultimately graduated from the United States Military Academy at West Point in June of 1909. During World War I, Simpson served on the Western Front and was promoted from lieutenant to captain, lieutenant colonel, and ultimately the division chief of staff. He was awarded the Army Distinguished Service Medal and the Silver Citation Star. During World War II, Simpson commanded the U.S. Second Army and later the U.S. Ninth Army. Now as a three-star general, Simpson led his soldiers to fight back the Battle of the Bulge. Dwight Eisenhower described General Simpson as an alert, intelligent, and professionally capable, the type of leader that American soldiers deserved. Another example of a Weatherford College veteran who excelled was Jim Wright. Wright attended Weatherford College and then enlisted in the United States Army Air Forces in December of 1941. He was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Air Corps in 1942 and earned a Distinguished Flying Cross while flying during combat in B-24 Liberators with the 530th Bomb Squadron in the South Pacific during World War II. Wright later served as mayor of Weatherford. He was elected to the United States Congress and in 1986 was ultimately named Speaker of the House. In his honor, the library behind you is named the Jim Wright Library. And finally, perhaps Weatherford College's most heroic veteran was Jack L. Knight. Knight was born in Garner, Texas on May 29, 1917. He graduated from Weatherford College in 1938 and joined the Texas National Guard with his brother Curtis on November 18, 1940. Knight served as a first lieutenant in the 124th Cavalry Regiment, Mars Task Force. On February 2, 1945, while fighting in Burma, Knight single-handedly destroyed 2 Japanese pillboxes and killed the occupants of several foxholes. Despite being wounded, he left his rifle platoon in an attack on a 3rd pillbox, but he was struck and blinded by an enemy grenade. Although unable to see, Knight rallied his platoon and continued forward in the assault on the remaining pillboxes. Before the task was completed, Knight fell mortally wounded. First Lieutenant Knight's gallantry led to the successful elimination of most of the Japanese positions and served as an inspiration for his officers and men of his troop. For his heroic actions, First Lieutenant Knight was awarded the Medal of Honor on June 25, 1945. Knight was buried at the Holders Chapel Cemetery in Cool, Texas. He was later awarded the Texas Legislative Medal of Honor in May of 1999. And on November 11th, 2014, Weatherford College named a building just north of us, the Jack L. Knight Building, in his honor. Ladies and gentlemen, freedom is not free. Today I welcome you to Weatherford College, and I invite you in joining me in honoring all distinguished veterans.
Thank you very much, President Farmer. It is now time for the presentation of the colors, the U.S. flag and the Texas flag, by Weatherford College students Army Sergeant Eric Santos, Trent Yerrigan, and Abby Juarez. I would like to invite Mr. Rob Laney to the podium, the director of the Weatherford College Choirs, who will be leading us in our national anthem in just a moment.
Please join with me in the singing of our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars
through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Mr. Laney. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to invite Doug Jefferson to the podium. He's going to bless us with a rendition of God Bless America. Doug?
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Oh, God bless America, our home, sweet home.
Thank you, Mr. Jefferson. We appreciate that. Gold Star families, you may have a seat if you'd like. And now this is fun, the posting of the military flags. We'll be introducing each of our students as they are bringing our military flags one by one with this wonderful music. Tammy? First, the Army flag, presented by Army Sergeant Tim Jacksix, Army Private Craig Hoteling. And the Navy flag, presented by Navy Counselor Petty Officer First Class Elizabeth Jackson and Navy Machinist Petty Officer Second Class Lucas Berry. The Coast Guard flag, presented by the Navy. Navy Machinist made Petty Officer Second Class Lucas Berry. Force flag presented by Air Force Airman First Class Alexis Schmidt and Staff Sergeant Donald Brandon. Flag presented by Staff Sergeant John Brown and Corporal Travis Spain.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First we fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor free. We are proud to claim the title of United States
Thank you, Weatherford College Veterans Organization students. It's my pleasure to introduce Sonny and Jolie Burgess to sing a very special song. Thank you, Bree.
If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and you can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, or at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, there's pride in every American's heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, or at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, or at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless the USA.
She signed up for United States service, but she didn't enlist. On the day she got married, when she looked at her soldier, and they said I do, and they kissed. 12 months later, he was off to war. She stayed behind the home front lines with her son and one on the way. She does her job as a full-time mom and makes sure that the bills get paid. Strong and silently, she proudly serves. Her uniform is an old t-shirt with a purple Kool-Aid stain. She takes care of her house and their son and the baby girl he's never seen. So God bless the boys who fight for the red, white, and blue. God bless their wives and their little soldiers too. Once in a while he'll call and she'll smile and beg him to crawl through the phone. She'll get the kids and lay there and pray, knock off another day till he's home. And tomorrow she'll do it all again. Her uniform is an old t-shirt with a purple Kool-Aid stain. She takes care of their house and their son and the baby girl he's never seen. So God bless the boys who fight for the red, white, and blue. God bless their wives and their little soldiers too. Too many times in the life of a soldier's wife, you'll have to make the ultimate sacrifice. Her uniform is a coal black dress with a folded American flag of someone's son and someone whose son will never know his dad. So God bless the boys who fight for the red, white, and blue. God bless their wives and their little soldiers too. God bless their wives and their little soldiers too. Ooh.
Thank you very much, Burgess family. We appreciate that. I believe Ralph Willingham is going to come forward and introduce our keynote speaker. Ralph?
Thank you. Thank you, one and all who are here today. We appreciate you very much. I do want to also introduce one person first, and that is Tammy. Is my assistant, Tammy Peters. And, you know, this wouldn't go on without her. And I just want you to know that I really, really do appreciate her. And everybody give her a hand. Thank you, Tammy. We had a young man come into our office. He didn't fall in. He came into our office one day a few years back. And he'd come in and visit with us on his break times. He was in our nursing program. And we really appreciated him because he did care about us and he cared about the vet center that we've really put a lot of time and stuff into. And so he continued to work very, very hard. And he'd come in talking about some of his classes, and I thought, my word, that nursing program's hard. And I'd always tell him, listen, I want you to be the very best you can be, because if you're taking care of me in the hospital, I need you to be good. So one day he did graduate in May of 18. And he graduated and went to work here in Weatherford at the hospital. But he got a phone call one day from Baylor Scott and White in Fort Worth. And I want to stop there, and I'm going to let him come up and share with you. And we just want to say thank you, Frank. We appreciate you very, very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Frank Divens. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a Weatherford. Can everyone hear me okay? Yep. All right. I'm obviously a Weatherford College graduate of the Associate's Degree Nursing program here. First and foremost, I'd like to begin by thanking Ralph and Tammy and Dr. Bill Alexander. I don't know if he's here in the background somewhere, but they've always gone out of their way, taking their time to put forth effort and time, and just taking their time to be with every single student, regardless of if they're a veteran or not. They just make sure that they're there for them, ensuring that they need everything they can, and I really appreciate them. So if we can give them a round of applause real fast. And one more thing on Dr. Bill Alexander. I'd like to just thank him specifically personally. He goes out of his way, and he actually counsels veterans dealing with PTSD and doing this thing on the side where he takes veterans fly fishing to cope with PTSD, and he does that on his own personal accord. He's not recognized for it or anything like that. He just goes out of his way to do that for others. So if you can give him another round of applause, please. All right, so I'd like to go ahead and begin. I really didn't anticipate, obviously I prepared for this speech, but I didn't anticipate on ever speaking at the ceremony. Ralph and Tammy and everyone had coaxed me into it over time and talked to me about participating in the ceremony for several years now. It's actually my first time participating over the course of the almost 4 years I was attending this college. But first and foremost, I'd like to make it known that this speech isn't really going to be tailored towards the military. This is going to be my story, my upbringing, and pretty much a speech is tailored and geared towards motivating others that's had a hard past or in current situations where they're struggling or things like that. So I'm going to share my story and the circumstances that have made me who I am today, and in hopes that it gives others strength and motivation to persevere in the times of hopelessness and doubt. So without further ado, I'd like to begin. Some of my earliest memories consist of recollections filled with alcohol and abuse. My dad, being a single father and the sole provider of 6 children, immersed himself in alcohol to alleviate the weight that he bore in this role. More times than not, I can recall dinners consisting of beans and rice as a child for weeks on end because we didn't have the money for anything else, due to alcohol and everything else. Childhood holidays consisted of turkeys, hams. They were all provided by the local fire department. And along with Christmases, they were all presents from them as well. And I'm forever thankful for them. Memories of no lights, running water on numerous occasions. At the age of 8, Child Protective Services intervened, removing me from abusive situation, placing me in a home of my biological mother that I'd never known, where there was drugs, crime, sex, and these were all promoted, and they were prevalent throughout. At the age of 12, again, being removed by CPS, I went to live with my brother Jesse because the only other option was foster care. So when I moved in with my brother at 12, I began to work to help alleviate some of the financial debt that he bore, taking care of me and my other 2 brothers at the time. And I worked as a ranch hand, making $5 an hour to try to help pay for school clothes and anything else I could. So this went on for a few years of just us living with them. And actually, at the age of 15, my dad tragically passed away in an accident. Though there were many unhappy memories, there were many happy memories because he was my dad, and he took care of us, and he provided for us. So after my dad passing, tensions became high in the home. My brother and I began to have physical altercations, leading me to moving with my other sister. I had older siblings that were 14, 15, 16 years older. And then eventually at the age of 17, I began to live on my own, work on my own. And throughout this time, my siblings that were closest to me in age continued to immerse themselves in drugs, alcohol, committing crimes, robbery, theft, everything of that nature. And I told myself that I would never be that person. I would never fall into those footsteps. And I looked at them, and to ensure that I didn't, I joined the Marine Corps at the age of 17. And I was not an adult. I was still a minor. But thankfully, at that time, my brother was my legal guardian. So he signed my papers. So with that being said, the biggest point of my speech, I kind of deviated away from my script, but the biggest point of my speech is we're not bound to our past. We're not bound to life circumstances. Let me back away from this. But we're not bound to that. We have a choice as individuals to take the right path, to do the right thing. So after joining the Marine Corps, I was stationed at Camp Pendleton, California, where I met the mother of my children in MOS school, and we lived there for almost 4 years, and I'm thankful for her, that everything she did. And after committing my active duty service time, moved here to Weatherford College, and as Ralph said, I came in and began speaking with them regarding taking classes for the nursing program. My first calendar year at Weatherford College, I knocked out 54 credit hours with a 4.0 GPA. And so that was a big accomplishment for me. I'm actually the first to attend college of my entire family. Aunts, uncles, moms, dads, grandmas, grandpas. One of the few that's even graduated high school. And that's on my mom's and my dad's side. With that being said, obviously I'm a Weatherford College nursing graduate. I'm currently attending Texas Tech online to finish my Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, and I have full intentions to go on to be a nurse practitioner. And basically I say all these things to convey that you're not alone. I know this isn't just my story. This is many stories out here. I'm not alone in this. Many of you have similar stories. We all deal with life circumstances, but there's always tomorrow, and we always have a choice to make decisions that's going to better ourselves, better our future, better our families. So the biggest thing I want to encourage you to make those choices. Stand up, take charge, embrace it. We learn from our past, we learn from others, we see others' mistakes and we learn from them. But you take the good, you leave the bad. Don't be afraid to ask for help. We're not in this alone. You will fall on your face, just as I have done on many, many occasions. You'll lose battles, but it doesn't mean you lost the war. In closing, I'd like to basically just leave you one simple statement that I've kind of led my life by and did my best to follow. And I would even encourage you to write this down if you can, if you have pen and paper or your phone or whatever you want to do. Success is only limited to the degree in which you apply yourself, period, no matter what you do. So thank you guys for your time. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Marine Sergeant Frank Divins, would you please give him another hand? Frank, we're proud of you and we're rooting for you. And please let us know if we can ever do anything to help you here. As we close our ceremony today, we remember those that we have lost. And I'd like to introduce Hunter Burt to come forward and be playing the bagpipes. The wreath presented by Navy First Class Rescue Swimmer Dr. Bill Alexander and Navy Master at Arms Third Class Cheyenne Beecham, as we remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
We have here a place of honor for those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. As you read the names of our hometown soldiers, in your mind's eye, see those heroes and think of them. Navy Petty Officer 3rd Class, Clayton Beachy. Army Private 1st Class, Austin Staggs. Army Private 1st Class, Joe Christopher Robinson. Army Staff Sergeant, Jeffrey Hartley. Army Sergeant, John Savage. Army National Guard, Sergeant Anthony Mason. Army Private 1st Class, Paul Ballant. Army Sergeant Curtis Oakes. Marine Corporal James McRae. U.S. Army 5th Special Forces Robert Deeks. Thank you.
Too late to help you hear a shout. You know you're in a deadly spot. You never thought the day would come, or did ya? Your brother falls down to the ground. The enemy is all around, and from your lips you scream a hallelujah. 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 You fought the fight till it was done. You have the strength to carry on. You thought it'd be much better back home, did ya? You try each day, keep pushing through, but the battle ends inside of you. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Next, we're going to retire a U.S. flag. And I must ask our fellow soldiers, has this flag represented the nation with honor and pride and become worn as the result of its usual service as the emblem of our country? Has this flag become unserviceable while flying over our country in time of peace and war, and as our nation's men and women died in defending its honor? It has been concluded that this flag will become unusable due to their proper service of tribute, memory, and love. As we retire this flag, we look at the flag and what the symbol of our nation is. It is red because of the human sacrifice. It is blue because of the true blue loyalty of its defenders. It is white to symbolize the liberty, our land of the free. And the stars are symbols of the united efforts and hope in the hearts of many people striving for a greater, noble America. We cut the stars out first, and then we cut each strip and place it in the fire.
As the flag ceremony finishes, we're going to finish our Veterans Day remembrance today with the playing of taps by Pedro Lopez. And before we do that, we want to thank you for being here today, for braving the elements, and for celebrating our country. I know that you are as proud of America as I am today. So after the playing of taps will be completed today. Thank you.
I just want to mention there's another guest here at the front, John Park, and he has a friend with him, and this is Max. Max helped to save over 4,000 lives of Afghanistan. So y'all come by and see Max. He'll be here for a while, and you can come and meet Max. And that's Corporal Max, by the way. And we are very, very proud to have them with us today.